No, two simple letters. One simple word. But why is it sometimes so difficult to say no? For many people, saying no is packed with guilt. Maybe you're afraid of disappointing someone. Maybe you're anxious to turn down your boss. Or maybe you're a people pleaser. No matter the reasons, learning how to say no is an important skill for your personal health and well-being. Our time and energy are precious resources that we should use wisely. And that means we can't do everything. Let's explore how to say no in different situations and why declining certain requests is sometimes better than saying yes. For some adults, the inability to say no stems from childhood. From an early age, children are taught to be polite and forthcoming. If a parent or teacher asked a child to do something, saying no was interpreted as a form of backtalk. In some cases, refusing an adult meant punishment or negative reinforcement. However, this can cause issues around communication and self-assertion. Being raised to believe that saying no is bad makes it difficult for children to communicate their preferences. For some people, this inability to speak up for themselves continues into adulthood. Another reason you may find it difficult to say no is if you doubt yourself. With imposter syndrome, you feel like you are not good enough to do the role that you are in. Because of these feelings, you avoid saying no to others. You are afraid they will think you are unable to perform your roles and responsibilities. It can also make it hard to say no to yourself. You constantly feel that you have to say yes to prove to yourself that you can actually do your job. There is also empathy and human nature to consider. We are social creatures that rely on human connection. Because of our need to belong, we are afraid to disappoint others or create conflict. In a study from the University of Waterloo, people were asked to carry out tasks that went against their ethics. Although they voiced their objections, half the subjects agreed to deface a library book. This was because saying no felt too difficult. This kind of behavior shows our inherent desire to avoid conflict and keep the peace. But is it possible that our need to be liked can do us more harm than good? Even if you are forcing yourself to get into the habit of protecting your time, energy, and space, it can be hard to deny people, especially if you are struggling with low confidence. Many people have a hard time with the idea of setting limits for fear of hurting other people's feelings or damaging their relationships. Here are a few of the reasons why saying no can be challenging and some tips on how to overcome these obstacles. 1. Fear of rejection. One of the biggest obstacles to setting boundaries and saying no is fear of rejection. You might worry that if you set limits or refuse requests, you will be seen as uncooperative, selfish, or unlikable. This fear can make it difficult to prioritize your own needs and desires over those of others. To overcome this fear, it is important to remember that setting boundaries is a form of self-care, not selfishness. We all have the right to set limits and prioritize our own well-being, and doing so can help us build healthier and more authentic relationships in the long run. 2. Guilt and obligation. Many people also struggle with feelings of guilt or obligation when it comes to setting boundaries or saying no. You may feel responsible for meeting others' needs or fulfilling their expectations, even at the expense of your own well-being. To push through these feelings, it can be helpful to practice self-compassion and remind yourself that you are not responsible for other people's emotions or needs. It's okay to say no when necessary, and you do not have to feel guilty or ashamed for doing so. 3. Lack of communication skills. Setting boundaries and saying no also requires effective communication skills, which can be challenging for some people. It can be difficult to communicate your needs and desires clearly and assertively, especially if you are used to avoiding conflict or pleasing people. To improve communication skills, it can be helpful to practice assertiveness techniques, such as using I statements, expressing your needs and feelings clearly, and setting limits and consequences for behaviors that cross your boundaries. You can also seek support from trusted friends or professionals to help you develop these skills. And 4. Cultural and societal norms. Cultural and societal norms can also make it challenging to set boundaries and say no. You might be conditioned to prioritize others' needs over your own, specifically to avoid conflict and prioritize harmony in your relationships. To overcome these societal and cultural barriers, it is important to challenge these norms and question what the behavior and consequences is behind these norms. If they do not align with your values and beliefs, you have the right to say no. It can also be helpful to seek support from others who share your same values and beliefs. Setting boundaries and saying no can be hard, and this journey will be something you need to continue to put effort into throughout your whole life. But it is an essential part of taking care of yourself and building healthy relationships with others. By overcoming your fears, practicing effective communication skills, and challenging societal and cultural norms, you can learn to prioritize your needs and desires and build more authentic and fulfilling relationships with others. Here are a few tips to practice saying no and upholding your boundaries in a healthy way. Tip 1. Be prepared for the reactions of others. When you set a boundary or say no, it's important to be prepared for how others may react. They may be surprised, upset, or disappointed, but being prepared for their reaction will help you to stay strong with upholding your boundary. Tip 2. Practice in low-stakes situations. To build your confidence and comfort with setting boundaries, practice in low-stakes situations. For example, practice saying no to a salesperson or declining an invitation to a social event you're not interested in. Tip 3. Journal your progress. Journaling your experiences and progress can help you track your growth and celebrate your success. Take note of the situations where you successfully set boundaries or say no and reflect on how it made you feel. Tip 4. Repeat reassuring phrases. When you feel anxious or unsure about setting a boundary or saying no, repeat reassuring phrases to yourself such as, "I am worthy of respect and my needs matter," or "Saying no is not selfish, it is self-care." Tip 5. Trust yourself. If something doesn't feel right to you, it's okay to set a boundary or say no. You know yourself best and know your limitations. Tip 6. Practice assertive communication. Use I statements and express your needs and feelings assertively, without apologizing or making excuses. And lastly, tip 7. Seek support. Seek support from trusted friends or professionals such as a therapist or coach who can help you develop your skills and offer encouragement and validation. As always, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.